Hello everyone. This is episode 17 of the podcast radio show. No, sorry. Not the podcast radio show, the chatbox podcast. Welcome along to episode 17. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all well and keeping safe. Today's interview is with a reporter from the BBC called Beth Parsons, here on the Chatbox podcast, episode 17. I really hope you enjoy it. I hope it fills a gap in your hours. Yeah, here it is, my interview with Beth Parsons. Enjoy. Here on YouTube. Here we go. Hello everyone, welcome to another Chatterbox podcast, episode 17. How are you doing today? Right, let's crack on, shall we? As you know, each week I have a guest to talk about their career or job, so let's crack on and go for it today, shall we? My guest today is broadcaster Beth Parsons from BBC. Hello Beth, welcome along.
Hello there Ben, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are yourself? How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
That's good. 5 questions about radio and broadcasting, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit me.
You ready to rumble in the jungle?
I am, yeah.
Okay, let's just go for it. Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
Well, I started with a radio show at university. So I went to the University of Huddersfield and did a show there on their station called Radio Hud. Had a couple of fairly rubbish names. There was the Let's Do Lunch show and there was the A Little Bit of Everything show. Very catchy. But then straight after I'd started that, I went and did a year, sort of like a studying year in industry, and went to Minster FM in York. And that's where I thought, yeah, okay, I want to do radio. So I did a year there, then went to finish my degree and then went back to Minster FM. And then that's where my radio career begun, as it were.
Yeah, there's few people I know work for Minster FM.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that have travelled through those doors in its time.
There's a bloke who I know called Chris Marsden as well.
Yeah, I know Chris.
And, of course, who now works at Radio Leeds on Breakfast Time, Richard Stead.
Yes, Richard Stead and Gail Lofthouse. She was at Minster FM as well. Kevin Larkin, who works in the news team, he was there. Tracy G, Sarah Wakefield, loads of people from Radio Leeds were at Minster FM.
Do you know anyone from this area, Radio Humberside?
I know a lovely lady called Jill Sennett, who's on the news team at Radio Humberside. I know Kofi Smiles as well, who does the breakfast show at he's Radio Humberside on Brekkie.
Yeah.
I think probably that's it. And maybe a few names I would end up recognising. Oh, Hull, I know Ellie and Alex, who do the breakfast show at Viking. So a couple of people.
One of my good friends does Radio Derby, Steve Jordan.
And is he in Hull now?
He's down in Derby, but he used to present on Viking FM and Casey FM.
Oh, I see. Okay, right.
I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I haven't heard of him, no, but I'm sure he's a wonderful man.
Yeah, I know Kofi. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, he's a nice lad, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyway, question 2. Who were your broadcast inspirations growing up in broadcasting?
Oh, well, I grew up around the Wetherby, Knaresborough, Harrogate region, and I did listen to a lot of Stray FM, actually. I later went on to work for Stray FM, so that was nice. I listened to them quite a lot because when it was snowing in the area, they used to do snow reports, and you'd be listening ready for your school to get listed, hoping that it was shut because of the snow. So that was a big listen for me. Galaxy, I listened to a lot of Galaxy, often on the school bus, actually. I think Kirsty's Daily Dose was on, and there was a game where they would have these clips of a granny and they would prank call people and play the clips down the phones, and that was always fun. And then I think Radio 1, at the time of my teenage years and young 20s, there was a lot of very strong female presenters in there. I used to really like Sarah Cox, Fern Cotton, Jo Wiley, Annie Mac and Annie Nightingale before that as well. So yeah, quite a few very strong female broadcasters I remember liking the sound of. But I didn't know I wanted to do radio until later on in life, so I wasn't growing up listening to them and thinking that's what I want to do. It just I kind of fell into it later, and then sort of harked back to why I might have liked those presenters and those people.
Yeah, it's good to like different people. Like I like people like Tony Blackburn, who's a few others as well. Hairsty was one of my inspirations to go into radio, because I have interviewed her before, you see.
Yes, I've listened. Yeah, she's a big inspiration.
Yeah, big inspiration.
Been in the game for a long time.
Yeah, and you've had the pleasure of working with her.
I have, yes, yeah.
If ever I work with her or someone, heroes of theirs, I just would freeze, to be honest.
No, you get used to it.
Because
you did the interview, so you're halfway there already.
Yeah, and there's also a guy over here as well who does our news, Peter Levy, as well.
Yeah, he's on telly, isn't he?
Yeah, have you ever had the pleasure?
I have not met him. No, I've not met him. One day, maybe.
Who knows? Question 3. What is your favourite part about the job?
I think my favourite thing to do is actually going and reporting, rather than I like live radio. I like the adrenaline of it, but I think my favourite part is hearing stories from people that you wouldn't have normally heard, and often that works better in a sort of pre-recorded setting. Have a lovely long interview that might go on for 20 minutes, half an hour, that then I can edit down into a lovely little package that just tells a story really well. So I think I like that mechanic about radio a lot, giving people the chance to have their voice heard. And sometimes it takes a little while to get that story out, so hence why I think that's best not done as live radio, because it's a lot of pressure getting someone on to do an interview and tell your story in 5 minutes straight, but actually if you give people a lot of time and then you can craft that piece of radio, that's definitely my favourite part of the job.
Yeah, radio art.
I like it, Ben. I like it.
Yeah. Question 4. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
Ooh. Personally, it's not been too bad for me. I moved house halfway through the pandemic, so I was living with my brother in Harrogate. We lived sort of until November, the 2020 year, the dreaded 2020 year. And then I moved into my own house. I bought my house in Leeds, and I now live here without my brother. So my 2 cats, I've got 2 lovely cats, Ronnie and Reggie. So yeah, personally, it's not been too bad. Obviously, it's been rubbish not being able to go to parties and dance and stuff and see your friends and family and go out for dinner and things. But work-wise, it was hugely different because we suddenly had no guests, no people in the studio. So stopped spending my time running up and down the stairs to welcome them and say hi and make them lots of tea. And I stopped being able to go on location. So we ended up doing, BBC Local Radio did a campaign called the Make a Difference campaign, which started, and I used to do live bulletins every half an hour with a load of community information, health information, stuff about charities, stuff about food banks, stuff about what you could and couldn't do, because it was all so very new to us at that point. So it was a lot of bulletins where I'd talked to people and got audio clips and sort of played out what at the time was very, very vital and sort of unknown information. As we got used to it, I think we stopped the such regular bulletins after a few months, and it's now just kind of an ongoing way to look at ways that people have made a difference in the community. But yeah, no guests, no reporting, live bulletins every half an hour, and we all were in weird little studios because we weren't allowed to be in the same studio together.
Yeah, it's been a weird time for us all.
It really has. It really has, yeah.
I don't know if Make a Difference still goes on nowadays.
It's sort of a broader campaign, I believe, now. So rather than it being such emergency necessary information, it's more sort of a place that people can go if they're doing something for charity, or they're doing something for their community group, or they have a lovely story to share about someone during the pandemic. So yeah, it's not regular bulletins, but it's still an asset, if you were.
Yeah. Question 5. What advice would you give to young, aspiring broadcasters who are starting out?
Okay, it's a tricky industry. There are more people that want to be in it than can be in it, is the simple answer. I wouldn't say if you really want to let that put you off, but it's got harder as well, even since I've been in it, because so many big radio companies are buying out those little stations, and it would be at those little stations where you could get good work experience. You could often get sort of part-time summer jobs where you'd be out at the local fair because your radio station's there, and help give out goodie bags and dress up as mascots for them and all sorts of things, go in and make the tea. That is trickier now because there are less radio stations to go around. But it's a fantastic industry. It's a lot of fun. There are so many things that I've done and somehow it's been classified as work, and I don't know to this day how that happened. I'm very, very lucky. But if you are keen to get into it, I think there are some really key things to do, which are probably key for all job industries, really. But make sure you listen before you start with your ideas. So make sure you've kind of absorbed what the station is about, what that person is about. If you've learnt everything you can before you even step in that door, that's always going to be good. I think as well, if you are lucky enough to be on air at some point, listen back to yourself as well. It feels like it's a bit big-headed, or someone walks in and you're just listening back to your own radio show, but it's not big-headed. You're being critical of yourself and you're listening back, and very quickly you'll realise, I say the word lovely all the time. Like if I'm interviewing someone about, oh lovely. And as soon as I'd heard myself doing that, I thought, okay, cut down the word lovely. So yeah, listen to yourself. I think as well, what radio stations want more and more of is an idea that will go multiple places. So rather than just, I know what'll be a funny link with a funny punchline and it can go into this song and it'll be really funny, rather than just being that one idea, could it be something on social media? Could it be something on a website? Could it be something that's put into a video? If it's a commercial station, could that be sold in some way or made into a competition? Or I think that the thing is, as radio is getting older and developing and adapting, you've got to target more than just your airwaves. So an idea that can go multi-platform is always going to go down well with your radio bosses, especially if they can sell it. And then I think keep your mechanics simple. So if you're doing a competition, the more complicated it is, the more different steps somebody has to go through, the more angles you have to make someone understand, the less people are going to enter, the less people are going to join in. So if you can make it very simple, very effective, you're going to get more people joining in, and at the end of the day, that's what we all want, isn't it? So yeah, and enjoy the people. If you don't like a conversation with someone, or to listen to someone having a conversation, then radio is going to be tricky. So yeah, I've somewhere in there may be some advice to aspiring broadcasters, but I still feel like an aspiring broadcaster, and I've been doing it for 9-10 years. So yeah, if anyone else has good advice, pass it my way.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And also, you need to keep because at the moment there were things coming to the BBC, but some of them, the 4-hour schedules, I think, got brought forward due to COVID, and
Hmm. Yeah, so we went down from 4 shows of 3 hours each to 3 shows of 4 hours each.
So basically, the breakfast show gained an hour, where the mid-morning show lost an hour but gained 2.
So something like that. Yes, yeah. It it lost an hour before midday, gained an hour after, or gained a couple after. Either way, there's less people in that 12-hour period, 6 a.m. till 6 p.m.
And that's the way forward, I think.
So far, yeah.
Because they've done it on Radio Humberside as well. I don't know if they've done it on your station.
Yeah, I think they've done it across most BBC local ones, which I think to start with was to do with literally bodies in the building when COVID started.
Yeah.
Less people that are in there, the less risk that there is. So that was quite an effective way of making sure at least one extra show is safe.
Yeah. And I got told that presenters as well were sharing some stations. I'm not sure if this was correct. Were sharing staff between each other.
Yeah, we had to stop doing that. So we had to say that people weren't going from site to site to site, which is tricky for the people who that was part of their job. So they had to pick one place, or that place picked them, and they had to be based there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us, Beth.
Thank you for having me, Ben. It's been wonderful.
Do join me again soon for another podcast, but for now, please give it up for my special guest, Beth Parsons. Thank you very much for listening, and that's a wrap. Sorry.
Woo!
Wrap. That was Beth Parsons here on the Chatbox podcast here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed it. I'll be uploading some more later on this week. My next guest later on tonight probably will be Rob Charles, the one and only Rob Charles, so stick around for that. And I really hope you enjoyed this interview with Radio Leeds legend Beth Parsons. I really hope you enjoyed the interview with Beth Parsons, however. That was episode 17 of the Chatbox podcast. Episode 18 will be with Rob Charles. Thank you very much for watching. Do the latter, subscribe and all that rubbish. So yeah, anyway, thanks very much for watching, and that's a wrap.